Kenny's favorite, the NBA. Eddie, what have you seen in the preseason so far, and which teams stand out?
So I'll tell you one thing. The one thing that really stands out is all the hype about Victor Wembanyama. That kid can play. Jesus, that guy can play. He
Well,
is
question.
yes.
So we know in the NFL preseason, starters don't play. The backups are playing against second and third stringers, and it gets a little deceiving. And we saw it with the Steelers, with Pickett and Pickens, and we saw it with the rookie quarterback backup with the Browns, and that's why you saw PJ Walker this week because the rookie tanked 2 weeks ago. Is the NBA preseason similar, or are their starters going out?
No, I mean the starters are playing, but they're limited, like to 15. They kind of ramp them up. Like usually the first game they play about 10 to 15 minutes. Second game's kind of similar. Sometimes the coaches will go ahead and give them a rest, in the second game.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're seeing starters, and they're ramping up before because the season starts on the 24th, right?
Right.
That's coming up really, really quick. I mean, that's what in 9 days, so or 8 days now, and they're these guys need to get their rotation set, and they need to get these players kind of comfortable with each other. So you're seeing these starters play for sure. So to answer your question, but the one thing that stands out to me is all the hype about Victor Wembanyama. It's understood why he has that hype. That kid can play. He is a very, very good player, and I would say he's one of these generational players. If he can go ahead and put a few more pounds on him, to sustain some of the contact he's going to get from some bigger guys. But I think the way Greg
All right.
Popovich is playing him, he's more of a small forward that they're playing him, right? And he's more of a perimeter player,
Right.
and I think he's doing. I mean, he's long. He's a defensive issue. He steals balls, blocks shots. I think he's a really good player. So that's one thing that stands out. You were gonna ask me a question. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The Wake Forest stud for the Spurs that retired now. The one following David
Oh,
Robinson.
Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan.
Now I know he did that with Tim Duncan. There have been times Tim Duncan be taking that three shot, woo, and making them. So Tim Duncan had those same abilities. But my question to you though is just out of curiosity, is how has Wembenyama been playing in the paint? Because that's where he's 7 footer. That's where he's got to get physical. How would you grade his performance in the paint right now? Because I think you're right. That him playing the traditional center role is just part of what they hope to get out of him, because I do believe they're going to play him at like a forward at times. But in the paint, what have you seen so far?
He's not going to be. They're not posting him up. That's not his strength. They're utilizing his skill set on the perimeter. That's where his strength is because he can dribble the ball pretty well. Not necessarily like a point guard, but like good enough to for a guy his size. And he can dribble and drive to the basket. He can get close to the paint, and then he's a decent passer. He showed some like unbelievable layup skills. I was like very impressed with what he could do, and he can shoot. I mean, the guy can shoot. So they're using him. They're using him like a Kevin Durant, honestly, like
Oh
somebody
wow,
who can pull up
that
like
makes sense. That
mid
makes sense.
level, right? He can pull. No one can block a shot. So he can pull up and shoot wherever he wants to. He can dribble wherever he wants to for the most part. I mean, a smaller guy like a defensive point guard like a Chris Paul will probably eat him up, right? Because his dribbling is so high, right? Someone's going to take it, but he shows really good skills. So I would say that he stands out. The other thing that stands out to me is the Celtics. The
Well,
Celtics.
hold on. One more question. Victor Wembanyama. Sorry,
Yeah.
but you mentioned the pull-up shot, and for the audience out there, my assumption of the pull-up shot is they're dribbling there, and the guy just stops dribbling, boom, and just puts up the shot right then and there. And at 7 foot, if he can
7'4". He's
at
seven
seven
four.
four, if he can perfect that pull-up shot, how do you stop that, Eddie?
You can't. There's nobody who can. You can't defend it. And if you can perfect like the fadeaway turnaround fadeaway shot, which Kobe Bryant perfected, Dirk Nowitzki
Yeah.
perfected, guys like that. I mean, you can't defend it. And Dirk Nowitzki's 7 foot, and nobody could block it. And this guy's 7'4", and he can do the same
Yeah.
thing. So I would say, Greg Popovich is a smart coach. He knows how to
Great
utilize
coach.
that
Great
skill
coach.
set. And he's not going to use him down low to try and get him to post up like a Tim Duncan or David Robinson. That's not his strength. He is an outside perimeter player who plays like a center on the defensive end.
Right. Okay, now what were you saying about the Celtics? My apologies.
No, what I was going to say is that the other ones that stand out to me, the Celtics, they're big four, Tatum, Jalen Brown, what's his name? I lost his name. Shoot. Tatum, Brown, Porzingis. That was the guy I was going to think about. Geez, I don't know why I'm not losing my mind here. Drew Holiday. That's the guy. Drew Holiday. Those four guys together. Wow. They are electric, and they've only played together in one game so far. They brought Drew Holiday off the bench, but the other three, the big three that they have, they played for the most part in the last game together, bringing Drew Holiday off the bench because Derek White was the starter. But that team, wow, that team is stacked. The only problem is that their bench is a little thin. They probably run about 7 to 8 deep. And they're not as deep as somebody like the Lakers. The Lakers are a very deep team. They're a team that's another team that stood out to me too. Is that all the pieces that they have, they are just a team that I think is going to compete for a championship just because they are so deep. The Warriors are another team, and the Suns. The Warriors, I think, are still good because they have 4 Hall of Famers on their team, right? They also have some depth on their team as well. This guy, Jonathan Kuminga, I think has emerged. He showed a lot this preseason. He has taken a step in the right direction. We will see if he becomes a rotational piece. Brandon Podziemski, who is the guy that they drafted this year out of Santa Clara, that kid can play. I mean, he is a triple-double waiting to happen almost every night because he does everything very, very well. He can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound for his size. He's like very similar to DiVincenzo, the same type of player like him on the deep, that can rebound very well because DiVincenzo for his size can rebound very well, and Brandon Podziemski is the same way. Then you have Chris Paul, who's been integrated in the starting lineup because Draymond Green is hurt, and there's question that he may not be ready for the first game of the season. But the Warriors need a facilitator, right? They have Draymond Green, who's been their facilitator, but Chris Paul's another facilitator, so that makes them very, very deadly. If Chris Paul's more than likely going to man their second team, more than likely on some nights he's going to probably become a starter depending on matchups, right? But that team is still dangerous. They're going to be a problem. The Suns are another team that's going to be a problem. Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, those guys, Grayson Allen. Then they have Yusuf Nurkic, who I think is a better fit for that team than DeAndre Ayton was because he can do everything very, very well. He can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound, he can play defense. So that team is also a team to watch out for. So those are the teams that really stand out to me. And I already mentioned the aforementioned Lakers. The Lakers, I think, are the deepest team in the league, in my opinion, because they run about 9 to 10 or 11 people deep, and all these guys can play. Whereas the Celtics maybe have run 7 to 8 people deep. Lakers run 10 to 11 deep. So I think they're a better overall team. For in the playoffs you need depth, and I don't think this. We'll see if the Celtics do any other moves in the season to shore up their lineups. But those are the 4 teams that I'm pointing out. So the Lakers, the Warriors, the Suns, and who else did I say? Lakers, Suns, Warriors, and Celtics. And the Bucks. Oh, the Bucks are good too. I forgot about them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's still preseason. It's not quite yet. In season, and we'll see some teams shake out. And look, the NBA season's long. It's like the NFL. It's also a league of attrition. You stay healthy. You compete at the end. Injuries. You better have a deep bench. And for people out there not too familiar, that bench only goes 12 deep, if I remember correctly. So it's not like teams are allotted a lot of depth.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these 2 boxes.